Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check, 1, 2.
When it comes to health and well-being, I really believe here at the Y, I get what I need. I get physical health, mental and emotional health. health and well-being, I really believe here at the Y, I get what I need. I get physical health, mental and emotional health, honestly, because exercise does that for you too. There's spiritual health because of the mission here and the love between people, and then relational health because there's so many fun people here to hang with. If it weren't for the Y, I would still be afraid of my own shadow. I was klutzy, overweight, insecure, one of those kind of kids growing up, and so my parents took me to the Y in our hometown. I tried everything they had to offer and failed miserably until I finally took some swimming lessons. In those days it was called tadpole and then fish, and you'd go up through the classes, and I loved it. Getting into competition swimming was a real confidence builder. I swam through high school and college and then continued to swim in the master's program. I'm married to the lovely Tom Hamilton, who's from Charleston. We met in California, where I was a TV newscaster and he was a Navy pilot. 6 years ago, we moved back to Charleston to enjoy our retirement. But when I moved, I didn't know where the Y was and everything, so Tom and I got in the car and the boxes were still unpacked in the condo. I said, we gotta join the Y. First thing, everybody was so nice. I got involved in classes immediately. I remember walking in with my yoga mat, looking around, having no idea, where is the yoga class, I wonder? And some member, just said, hey, can I help you? The Y in Charleston is enormous. All the aerobic and cardio stuff is upstairs. Downstairs, all the weight equipment and the mats. I've been involved in other health clubs over the years, and the vibe here is just more welcoming, and it doesn't matter how old you are, what level of fitness you have. This is a welcoming place. You're going to be encouraged, you're going to be supported, and frankly, if you're open to it, you're going to be loved as well. In order of importance, I guess, there's my husband and my family and my church, and then the Y. I mean, this is my second home. I love the classes, the instructors, the staff. I don't know what I'd do without it.
came to the Cross Lanes YMCA Child Development Center when my oldest son was 4. They've been a part of our family for over 13 years now. They have provided absolute quality care for our kids, a learning environment, a safe environment. My husband and I could go to work every day and always feel like our kids were safe. I take them to school in the mornings, and then the bus would actually pick them up from their elementary school and bring them back here for after school care. So I don't have to worry about being anywhere before school lets out. They don't come home from school and sit on a video game. They're here, they're playing with their friends, they get their homework done, but they're up and they're playing, they're running, they're being kids. And it was always just a good experience. He learned so much that first year in pre-K. It was amazing. Beyond the things that he was learning with his colors and shapes and, already starting to write, but his social skills, how to share, how to care for others. Kindness matters, respect for other people. In every little graduation, every little room change, I could see just all the wheels turning with my kids and the things that they were learning and the things they were doing. They have a zero tolerance for, bullying or, picking or anything like that the kids tend to do. They shut it down very quickly. It's not yelling, it's not screaming. They communicate so well with the kids and talk to them. When we brought them in, they weren't crying, they weren't mad, they were excited to come. It wasn't throwing them out of the car and shutting the door and running for us. Like, they were happy to come here. You always feel like things will always be handled. The summer camps here are truly amazing. My kids have absolutely loved it, and we've done them for years, and we'll be signing up for this year's summer camp as well. The teachers, the counselors, the cooks, it's like they're all part of your family because they've all had some kind of a part in helping raise your kids.
If you all could please begin to find a seat. If everyone could please begin to find a seat, we'll get started.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we please find our way to our seats? The program is getting ready to begin. Can we please find the way to our seats?
You're so nice to join us.
Again, if we could please begin making our way to our seats, the program is getting ready to begin. Thank you.
Hey, Sarah.
Yes, sir.
Are they on the ground?
Yes. Yeah. He said that
They'll be here.
Yeah. He said that they were 10 minutes in the car, so they should be here any minute.
I am
The challenge here to get this group going.
Oh.
Oh, there he is. He's here. He just walked in.
Come on, Jim, you're up here. All right, you ready? I'm ready. All right, if everybody could please take their seats. If everybody could please take their seats.
Thank you so much. Hey, Jim. General, good to see you. You know Father Hicks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start.
Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Let's let everybody get their seat. If you look around, what a crowd. What a crowd today. And I will tell you that for the last 2 weeks, there's not been a ticket available. It's really... We really appreciate all of you joining us for this year's Spirit of the Valley Luncheon. I've told several people it's my favorite Charleston event because I've never come to it and not left feeling good about our community. It's really terrific. I'm Marty Becker, and I have the pleasure of chairing this year's event for my good friend Pat Graney, this year's honoree. You know, it was just a couple weeks ago we were celebrating Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving is such a special holiday of giving thanks for all the blessings in your life. Today we give thanks to our YMCA and what it does for our community here in Charleston. And you're going to hear a little bit more about that today. But the program today would not have been possible without all of your all's support. At this time, I want to recognize the vice chairs who raised all the money for this event. And it's a great group. And I'd like them each to stand, and when they're all standing at the end, we can give them a round of applause, but hold your applause till the end. So the vice chairs were Andy Paterno, Andy Teeter, Anna Daly, Bob Welty, Brad Ritchie, Charlie Capito, Chris Hamilton, Andrew Jordan, Ed Welch, Gov Graney, Greg Burton, Jeff Isner, Marty Roth, Mike Klauser, Mike Graney, Pat Bond, Rebecca McPhail, Richard Gaskins, Steve Roby, and Tom Haywood. And if you could please give all of them a round of applause. We also had an incredible group of corporate sponsors, and you can see on the screens behind me, we're rolling through the logos of the different corporate sponsors. We've just had overwhelming support from the business community for this year's event, and we thank them so much. And when you see someone from one of these sponsors, please thank them for supporting the Y and supporting our program today. I'd now like to welcome our 2021 Spirit of the Valley honoree, a gentleman who really needs no introduction, General James Hoyer. He's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you please stand and join me while we honor our nation and our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, General. Thank you, General Hoyer, and we especially thank you for all you do for our state, because it is impactful. We now at this time would like to welcome Father Donald Higgs from the Basilica of the Co-Cathedral of the Sacred Heart, who will provide today's invocation.
Let us pray. Loving God, as we gather during this holy season of Advent, preparing to celebrate the wonder of Christmas, the coming of your Son, Jesus. When your Son did come to us, he taught us by the example of his life that we are to serve rather than be served. Jesus also taught us that when we serve those in need, when we care for those, we are caring for Christ himself. Today we gather to honor one of your servants, Pat Graney. Continue to bless him as he follows the call to serve with wisdom and the many talents you have given him. We thank you for his many gifts that he shares with others. May the example of his generosity and service to those in need inspire us. We thank you for all that you give us, and ask your blessing on us and the food we are about to eat. Bless our conversations. Bless those who have prepared this food and those who will serve. May our time today inspire us to serve all those who benefit from the services offered by the YMCA. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Father Higgs. And now, please enjoy your lunch, and we'll start our program in just a few minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Will Robinson, and I have the honor of being the chair of the board of the YMCA of Kanawha Valley. On behalf of the board, I want to say thank you for gathering with us today. Please continue to eat and enjoy your food as we work through the rest of the program. For over 115 years, the YMCA of Kanawha Valley has looked for ways to best serve our community. Because of your support, we are able to ensure everyone in the Kanawha Valley has access to a facility and programming that are vital to their personal growth, regardless of their income. The Spirit of the Valley and the YMCA are all about helping others reach their goals. Since 1985, we've gathered as a community to recognize an individual who humbly gives of their time and their resources to the Valley citizens that are most in need. The spirit of having commitment, persistence, and a joyful heart strengthens the threads that bind us together into a vibrant community. That spirit is in all of us. Our hope is that Pat's testimony of leading with a servant mindset will plant a seed of inspiration within you. Beyond the dollars that were raised today, for which we are grateful, all of us unleashing our spirit into the Kanawha Valley and our state, like Pat, is the greatest honor and recognition we can give to him. Pat, I want to humbly thank you for your service to our valley and our state. We are better because of you. Thank you. At this time, I want to introduce Sarah Bolyard, who is the CEO of the YMCA. Thank you.
Sorry, I got to get to my place. I've practiced my speech several times, so if I mess up and look at my paper, I apologize. But thank you guys so much for being with us today. We are truly overwhelmed by the outpouring of support that we've received in the community, and for that we are forever grateful. You know, in my role, I have the privilege and the honor of seeing the Y's mission in action every single day. Our organization is obviously dedicated to youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility, but what does that truly mean? So if you'll humble me for a few minutes, I'd like to just share one reason why the Y is vital in our community. I hope you'll bear with me if my emotions get the best of me. If you know me or my staff, you know that we are passionate about what we do, and we care deeply for those we serve. About a year ago, a little 9-year-old girl started in our after-school program. She immediately fit right in with all the other kids and stole the hearts of our staff. We came to find out that she was in a very troubled situation at home. Our main goal was making sure that she knew when she walked through the doors of the Y, she was cared for, she was safe, and she was loved. That same little girl came to us at the beginning of the school year and said that her and her little sister were hungry on the weekends. Her one request, baby food. That little girl is the reason that we now have the Y Marketplace. The Y Marketplace is a staff and volunteer-driven effort where all of the families that we serve in our youth development programs and all of the families that you all help support through Spirit of the Valley can come and get access to basic needs and food and resources to help them get back on their feet. We opened our doors on Thursday, November the 3rd, and our first customer was that sweet little girl. She walked in and her eyes lit up. Thank you. She was so happy and so overwhelmed when she walked in, and I looked at her and I said, you know that all of this is because you were brave. You were brave enough to say that you needed help. And I hope that you know how much you're going to be able to impact those in the community. And her eyes filled up with tears, and our eyes filled up with tears, and she said that that made her heart really happy. So for that, we are very thankful, and she is Y. We are the Y. So the Y is so much more than just a gym. We are the leading provider of childcare in our community. We serve over 200 meals a day. That wasn't my fault. We serve over 200 meals a day and 400 snacks to kids that are in our after-school and full-day out programs, and that number more than triples during the summer months. Currently, there are over 300 families that are on assistance through the Spirit of the Valley campaign, and their average household income is a little over $18,000 a year. So when you give to the Y, you're giving far beyond access to a treadmill. You're giving vital programming to make sure that all those in the Valley have access to the resources that they need in order to live a happy and successful life. So from all of us that live and breathe the mission every single day, we are so thankful to each of you for being with us and for supporting our organization. So on today, when you are paying respects to Pat for all of his great work, I think that Will said it best. Please take what he has done in our community and do that on your own. If you want to do that with us, we'd be more than happy to have you help with us and volunteer, but I think the best tribute that we can give to Pat is to continue his work of service in our community. So I invite you now to sit back and enjoy a video and hear from those who love Pat the most. Thank you.
Charity, wisdom, patience, and humility. Each year, the YMCA of the Kanawha Valley attributes the admonition of St. Francis to an individual in the valley whose life personifies the spirit of giving. The YMCA is proud to pay tribute to this year's Spirit of the Valley recipient, Patrick C. Graney III. Patrick Graney is proud to tell you that he hails from a family of entrepreneurs, lawyers, and politicians. His family tree is deeply rooted in West Virginia. His maternal grandfather, William Chapman Revercombe, was a Charleston attorney and a United States Senator. Grandmother Sarah was a political activist in the Republican Party. On the other side of the family, Patrick Graney Sr., Pat's grandfather, was a mining engineer, then later a mine owner and operator, and served as the state road commissioner in Governor Cecil Underwood's first administration. Grandmother Thelma, she was not only the family matriarch and one of Pat's mentors, she was president of the Bank of Mount Hope. Pat's father had a successful law practice. His mother, Anne, the daughter of that U.S. Senator, inherited the family's leadership gene, becoming president of the student body at Hollins. Pat comes from a family of 4. Sister Sharon was the firstborn, then our honoree, Patrick III, Sarah, and Mike. Pat was born in Charleston in 1953, and the family moved to Mount Hope soon after. He grew up playing sandlot sports, and at Mount Hope Junior High, Pat competed on the football and basketball teams. He was on the golf team at White Oak Country Club, and he honed his own leadership skills as a Boy Scout. Also, in his teens, Pat played rhythm guitar and sang in a rock band called Sons of Freedom. Not just a garage band. Pat and his fellow musicians performed at local events. Music was woven into the fabric of his family. Tragedy struck the family in 1968 when Pat's father died unexpectedly at the age of 41. Pat was 14 when that occurred, and as you would expect, it shaped him.
So my big brother is just an awesome guy. I mean, there's, there are a lot of different adjectives that could be used to describe Pat. He's brilliant, he's compassionate, he's passionate, he loves his family, he's devoted to his community. He was a fantastic brother, but also a fantastic business partner. And, we lost our father at a young age, and so our mother raised 4 children beautifully. We had a wonderful upbringing, very fortunate. And he sort of stepped into that role as, male leader in our family.
For high school, Pat went to the same school his father had and was graduated from the Deerfield Academy in Massachusetts in 1971. After that, he was off to the University of Virginia. In the spring of his freshman year, he went to a surprise birthday party and made a lasting impression.
My first impression of Pat at that time was the same as I think everybody's first impression of Pat. He was so nice. He was courteous, he was a gentleman, we had a lot of fun, we had a lot of mutual friends. He appealed to every single side of me. And he's the same way today.
Pat and Jessica started dating, and both were involved in a lot of extracurricular activities. During his junior year, Pat was mugged, and not just mugged, he was shot. The robbers got away, but not without a fight.
Pat, in those early years, was exceptional and stood out, similar to how I think he has his whole life. He was never judgmental. He always tried to help people and bring people along. He's a very hard worker. He tends to the details. And so when you do that, you often have success. I would say he never really tried to be anything but who he was. His success came because of hard work and I think because of his humility and his generosity of spirit.
Pat was managing editor of the student newspaper, an honor committee advisor, and was involved in much more, earning him the Distinguished Raven Award for outstanding leadership. 2 months after graduating, in July of 1975, Pat and Jessica were married in the chapel at UVA. Pat was offered a job back home, and so they moved to Beckley. His boss, John B. Long, became a mentor. Not long after, Pat's grandma Graney told him about a company he might be interested in buying into, Petroleum Products Incorporated. It sold to industrial clients like coal mines and had 5 gas stations. A year into owning the business, a call came in during the dead of night, and the officer said, "Your business is on fire." Despite the devastating loss, they still had their trucks and made good on their deliveries the same day. Pat still worked full-time for John Long, and Jessica managed the day-to-day operations of Petroleum Products. She also became a tires, batteries, and accessories salesperson for them. Juggling a job working for someone else, the demands of owning his own business, and with one child at home and another on the way, Pat felt he needed to learn more about business and went back to UVA for an MBA. In 1981, he graduated, earning the Faculty Award for Academic Excellence. One of his early hires was Peggy White.
My perception of Pat in working with him for 30 years, I can tell you, was honest, loyal, hardworking, fun-loving. He always believed in working hard and having fun. Just very dedicated, quite an entrepreneur, and just an all-around incredible individual.
Petroleum Products grew under Pat's leadership from a small 11-employee shop to a multi-state business serving the coal, construction, and oil and gas drilling. He brought in his brother Mike into the business. Those 5 gas stations, they morphed into the chain of one-stop convenience stores. He founded Petroleum Transport, a regional short-haul trucking company. He diversified into various interests in the coal business. He owns and manages several office and warehouse properties, is an investor and advisor in several startup companies. In 1985, Pat answered the call to serve his state as a financial strategist to Governor Arch Moore, working in the Office of Community and Industrial Development. Later, he served as chairman of the West Virginia Economic Development Authority. And for many years, he's been active on the board of the State Chamber of Commerce.
Pat is a servant leader. He embodies the attributes of a servant leader. He shows up not to say what needs to be done and not to say necessarily what's the first thing that comes into his mind. I think Pat approaches the role from the point of view of how can I help? What are we trying to accomplish? Of course he has opinions. Of course he knows things. He actually knows lots of things. but he approaches with I'm here to listen, I'm here to learn, and then I'm here to ask, how can I help, and what can I put on the table that would be most helpful?
I think Pat's leadership style is quiet leadership. It's sensible leadership. It's kind of cast in a gentleness, but you know there's a lot behind it, whether it's the information that he has, whether it's the way he contemplates things and logically pieces them out. I haven't met one person who doesn't like to work with Pat Graney. I really haven't. And that's in all phases of his life, whether it's politics, government, business, personal. What a tribute, really.
The list of boards on which he's served is lengthy. And in the nonprofit arena, Pat is chairman of the Board of Trustees for the University of Charleston. And that love of scouting he had as a youth? On his honor, he does his best and gives back as a board member and past president of the Buckskin Council. And the list goes on.
Pat is a very good listener. He's an active listener. He asks good questions. He likes to get to the bottom of things. And in today's environment, just being able to listen to each other and have some appreciation for where the other person might be coming from is a real attribute, and Pat has it.
But first and foremost, Pat Graney is a family man with a great sense of humor. Pat and Jessica have 4 sons, Patrick the Fourth, Governor, Kevin, and Michael.
You couldn't ask for a better father. One of the greatest things Pat's done for his children is he's provided a loving home. And where he had probably opportunities to be elsewhere in his business, he often said, you know, he sort of curtailed his business ambitions so he could be a part of the family.
The family has now grown by 3 daughters-in-law and 8 grandchildren. All love to play at the historic Cheat Mountain Club, in which the family has an interest. Built in 1887 as a hunting and fishing lodge, a lot of favorite memories were made there.
I think what matters most to Pat Graney is family. Family is very important to him and his friends. He is such a hardworking individual, but he also puts his family first, and his friends become his family as well.
Pat and Jessica love to travel. Family and friends alike will tell you Pat's a heck of a travel planner and always prepared. He loves to fly fish and ski, and as busy as he still finds time to golf.
One of his expressions he's always said around the family is it doesn't really matter how hard you fall, it's how quickly you can get up. If he falls or if things do not work out, he just pops back up and starts over again.
Pat's had many opportunities to go elsewhere, to look at other opportunities, to think about other things, but I think, he truly is committed to West Virginia and to his community.
On Pat's golf game, if you hit a really good shot right down the middle of the fairway, right where you want to be, Pat calls that position A. And so you'll hit a shot, and if you happen to hit a really good one, he'll bellow out, position A. And you know what? Pat's position A. He's right where you want somebody with influence and compassion. That's Pat. He is position A number 1.
Congratulations, Patrick C. Graney III. You embody the YMCA's Spirit of the Valley Award.
Wow. What a video. And special thanks to Diana Soul and Motion Masters, because every year they seem to do a video that just captures your heart, and this one sure did. Pat Graney, as you just heard in the video, Pat has all the best qualities of our Spirit of the Valley recipients. He's a dedicated citizen of our community. He's a devoted family man. He's been an extremely successful businessman. And most importantly, to me and so many others, he's a great friend. Couldn't have a better friend. I've had the pleasure of knowing Pat almost 40 years, and he's had an incredible business career, and he is a true entrepreneur, but also a terrific salesman. And perhaps Pat's best salesmanship was shortly after graduating from UVA in 1975, he convinced his wife Jessica, a big city girl from Washington, New York, to get married and move to Beckley, West Virginia. There's a lot of similarities there. But they were taking over a small petroleum distribution firm, as you heard, with 11 employees. And Pat and Jessica both jumped in, but Pat really jumped in and began building petroleum products, which became a major multi-state distributor of petroleum products to the construction industry, the coal industry, the oil and gas industry, all over West Virginia and in neighboring states. Really quite a business. And fortunately for all of us, in the mid-'80s, he made the decision to move the corporate headquarters from Beckley to Charleston. And that is really a blessing to each of us here today. Pat's capacity is incredible. You heard in the video that as he was building this business, he decided he was going to go back and get his MBA at Darden. And this was a full-time program. And he'd just had their first child and another one on the way. And he commuted back and forth on the weekends to run the business and went to school at Darden 7x24 all week long. And as you saw, he graduated at the top of his class. After graduating from Darden, Pat started One Stop, or started the convenience store business, which Mike came into and was so instrumental in building to a major chain of convenience stores in the state of West Virginia. And they expanded One Stop pretty much across the state until they sold the operation in 2015. So petroleum products was sold shortly before that, and One Stop was sold. So Pat then had to figure out, well, what's his next phase in life? Well, he didn't have to think about it very long, because he is such a sought-after director, advisor, counselor to so many businesses and organizations across West Virginia, and particularly right here in our community of Charleston. And you saw some of them roll up on the screen. He's on the National Holding Company of Truist. That's a big deal. This is one of the 5 or 6 major banks in the country. He's on the board of Ramaco Resources, a publicly traded natural resource firm. He's on the board of probably the biggest global company we have, and that's the Mountain Companies. And he and I serve on that board together. He's on the board of Appalachian Tire Products, Pillar Oil and Gas, and you heard he also chairs the board of the University of Charleston. He's been an incredible leader in the Boy Scouts in our community and state and the region, was very instrumental in building the new Buckskin Council Center up at the east end of our town, and he and Jessica received their very prestigious Good Scouter Award just a couple of years ago. He helped found the West Virginia Drug Intervention Institute, and very important to Pat is the service that he gives to the Parish Finance Council at Sacred Heart. He has been an instrumental member of the Sacred Heart community, and they do such great work for Charleston. What's not also mentioned all the time is Pat has served meaningful time in government service. In the mid-'80s, you saw in the video, he took a leave from his jobs, not that he didn't have enough to do, and became a financial strategist to former Governor Arch A. Moore, Jr. In 2006, he was appointed to a 2-year term by former President George W. Bush to serve on the National Coal Council and advise the Department of Energy. And from 2007 to 2013, Pat was a very active director on the board of the Federal Reserve in Richmond, Virginia. And interestingly, and not surprisingly, they continue to reach out to Pat to this day when they have an issue in West Virginia and get advice and consultation as to what to do. He's received all sorts of awards and accolades, but two of the most notable are his selection into the West Virginia Business Hall of Fame and also the State Journal's Who's Who in West Virginia Business. So you can get a real sense of Pat's accomplishments, and there are many, many more, but what he's done for this community and what he's done for our state is pretty hard to put into words. As I was thinking about what to say today, I approached two different groups of people. One were his four sons, Patrick, Gov, Kevin, and Michael, who have all become incredibly successful in their own right, and all of them have traveled here to be with us today. And I'd like for you each to stand. Patrick, Michael, Gov, Kevin. I know that Pat's not prouder of anything else than you guys. I also approached a group of members that we share together in a discussion group. And I asked both groups the same questions, two questions. What quality and trait do you most admire in Pat? And what do you think has been the biggest impact on making Pat the success he's been? And as you might imagine, the responses were pretty similar. But let me share with you some of the responses I got back. The sons, what do they admire in Pat? His optimism. His generosity, not just financial, but time. He's always there when you need him. He always seems to put others first. He's thoughtful, he's deliberate, always keeps the end goal in mind, and he's always available. From his discussion group friends, they admire Pat's love of his family. He is always creating opportunities for them to get together. Pat's calm, he's thoughtful, he's clear thinking, he's strategic, and he's very hardworking. And Pat's relationship with his wife, Jessica, and his devotion to not just his sons, but his siblings, his sister-in-law, and all his nephews and nieces. Most of all, they admire that Pat's a true friend. So you can see what kind of person Pat Graney is from those who know him the best. On my question about what has helped make Pat the great success he is today, the sons commented, organizational skills, work ethic. He's the consummate doer. He took on great responsibility at a young age, he embraced it, and he never looked back. And he has a solid group of friends, but the son said most importantly, a solid partner and an excellent marriage with their mom. Jessica, please stay. From the discussion group on what's made Pat most successful, the first one is, as tough as Pat can seem, he's really a softie, and he's there 24/7. Incredible determination and problem-solving skills, an abundance of energy, and extremely well-read, and always focused on a strategy for results. So, you know, we should all be so fortunate as to have those closest to us say those things about us, and they're really true with Pat. One quick story. 1997, Pat was asked by Governor Underwood to co-chair with Tom Haywood an 8-month campaign to pass an amendment to West Virginia's Constitution to allow the long-term investment portfolio of the state, principally pensions, to invest in securities other than bonds. Prior to this time, we could only invest in fixed income instruments in West Virginia. As usual, Pat was all in. They did an initial poll of the voters, and 26% were in favor of this amendment. 34% were opposed, and everybody else was undecided. Pat and Tom Haywood went to work. And as Tom pointed out, Pat had his very familiar 3-ring binders filled with notes, talking points, and a campaign strategy that they used for 8 months in this campaign. The end result was incredible. 78% voted for, 22% voted against. And we just saw in this last election how tough it is to pass a constitutional amendment in West Virginia, but what a great testimonial. But more importantly and more impactful for everybody here and everybody in the state of West Virginia, the West Virginia Investment Management Board estimates that this amendment, which broadened their investment powers, has brought the state of West Virginia over $9.5 billion of additional revenue in the past 20 years. I mean, it's just incredible. Do we present this? Pat, oh. Well, I'm supposed to present Pat the Spirit of the Valley Award at this time, but one's way over there and one's way over there. So I'm just going to introduce Pat and ask him to say a few words. Pat, congratulations.
Oh my goodness. How can I follow that? Well, you all know a lot about me at this point. I guess there's not many secrets left. Marty, thank you for such a wonderful introduction. Maybe we can have an instant replay of that?
It's video.
Oh, good. Father Don, thank you so much for that wonderful invocation. And Jim, General Hoyer, thanks for being here and leading the Pledge of Allegiance. Jim and I go way back. We both have great younger brothers. His younger brother used to babysit our children. I'm honored and humbled by this award today. I've been privileged to be involved with this YMCA fundraising event for many years, and it is a special opportunity to join many past recipients of the Spirit of the Valley Award who are great friends and mentors, and many are in the room today. Diana Solwaldo, I don't know how you do it with Motion Masters. And this is such a fantastic video. And I guess I've only got one question. Who is the guy with all the hair? And it was red. Well, today I'm overwhelmed to see so many people here to celebrate this event to support me and also the YMCA. Of course, none of this would be possible without the team of volunteers for the Spirit campaign led by one of my very best friends, Marty Becker, who of course was the 2019 Spirit of the Valley honoree. Marty, thank you for all your great work, and all the vice chairmen who have worked so hard on this event. I hope we've exceeded our goal. I guess we'll find out. As I reflect upon this video, we have seen one thing about my life and career, and I understand one thing that is absolutely clear. All my success is because I've been surrounded by many great teams. So Webster, and I looked this up in the dictionary, not Google, although you could look it up on Google, defines a team as a group of players that come together to achieve a common goal. Through many years and many aspects of life, I've been able to count on a lot of help and support from several critical teams. You've heard about a lot of these teams already. It goes without saying that team number one is my family, led by my co-chairman and our CEO, Jessica, my wonderful wife of 48 years. Now, as Marty mentioned, I was somehow able to convince her to come back to my native state of West Virginia. And after that first week, she said, Pat, she says, where are all the people? Well, fortunate, she loves this state and this community, and we have thrived here together. So counting a couple of years of dating, we've been a team for 50 years. And you've heard, of course, about our family. We are truly blessed with 4 wonderful sons, 3 daughters-in-law, and 8 grandchildren. We are truly blessed, and I am also lucky to have the support and love of my sisters, Sharon and Sarah, and my brother, Mike. Of course, we've come a long way since we were in Mount Hope. Now, our family team also includes Jessica's sister, Mary, my brothers-in-laws, and cousins, nieces, and nephews. So this family team has always been there to support me in so many ways. And Jessica, thank you for your wonderful remarks. A second team that has been critically important, and you learned a lot about this, is my business team. I am so thrilled that so many of them are here today. It has been led by many dedicated and talented managers and employees at Petroleum Products, One Stop, Petroleum Transport, and other business endeavors that I have been involved with over the years. Boy, could I tell you some stories about these folks. But their tireless efforts kept the lights on in the stores, the warehouses, the customers happy, and kept the trucks rolling. This did allow me to participate in many outside activities from the day-to-day operation. I'm pleased that you got to hear from my brother Mike, who has played such a vital role in our business and our family, and now, of course, is helping with the state of West Virginia. I now also have had the good fortune to work with talented and thoughtful folks on business boards where I serve. So to the many business associates of mine here today, thank you for coming and your incredible support over these years. This includes a special shout out to my newest business team at Nacelle Logistics, my current office mates. Our motto at the business with our trucking business was, "We climb mountains." Well, we have definitely climbed mountains together. Think about millions of miles, no accidents. Walking across the town in snow to open the store. I could tell you stories about these folks you wouldn't believe. Thank you, Peggy White, for representing this group today. A third team playing a significant role in my life are our many, many friends. These many friends and mentors and acquaintances and advisors have helped me in so many ways. And it's been a joy raising children together, traveling, dinner parties, etc., and playing golf, even when they beat me like a drum, and comforting each other in life's successes and also tougher times. So to all my friends here today, thank you for being here. And thank you, Shelley, for representing that group so well in your great remarks. Finally, and last but not least, is Team 4, which is the collective teams that I've been privileged to work with at my many civic and charitable activities. The University of Charleston, the Buckskin Council Boy Scouts, the West Virginia Chamber, the Sacred Heart Parish, and many, many other teams are full of dedicated and inspirational folks who actually work hard to help everybody in West Virginia. Thank you for being here. You actually represent the spirit of this valley. And Steve, thank you so much for your great comments. Will and Sarah, thank you for the wonderful work at the YMCA. You and your staff help remind us on a daily basis why we're actually all here. Bill George, a Harvard professor and former CEO of Medtronic, in his most recent business publication, which is a timeless classic, True North, challenges a new generation of emerging leaders to really build phenomenally successful organizations, but only if they can build meaningful relationships around a general purpose. Well, I think today you have met this definition. I'm continually amazed by the dedication of this group as we all are united in a purpose to invest in an important institution in our community that helps others. You show this spirit year after year. This award is wonderful, and thank you for the honor, but I really think the real recognition today belongs to all of you. Marty, in conclusion, I'm confident we can finish this year's Spirit of the Valley event with the thought that this community does have a special spirit. The spirit of this team of people in this room today continues to be a force for good in Charleston, the Kanawha Valley, and actually the state of West Virginia for many years to come. And I'm privileged to be on that team. Thank you.
You know, I mentioned in my opening comments how enjoyable this luncheon is each year. You just can't sit here and not feel good about where you live here in Charleston, West Virginia, and the people in this community, and particularly citizens like Pat Graney. Now, it is a fundraiser, and the Y gave us a goal of $300,000, which is a lot of money. And it's particularly a lot of money in these times with inflation, recession, and all the other things you can count on your hand. But we had great vice chairs, and because of all their efforts and all the work from all of you all and your support here today, at the moment we're at $501,000. And if you're so inclined, we're still taking checks. This concludes our program. We really thank each of you for coming. We thank you for what you do in this community. We thank you for your support of the Y, and a very happy holiday. Thank you.